The special meeting of the White Plains Common Council on March 2nd was a scoping session for the environmental review of the proposed development on the Good Counsel property on North Broadway. It got underway with Planning Commissioner Chris Gomez outlining the procedure.
So the next process obviously would be an adoption of a scope based on public comment, a scope of study. And then after that, the applicant will be spending a significant amount of time preparing an environmental impact statement that meets that scope. That draft environmental impact statement will be reviewed by the Common Council as our lead agency to make sure it's complete and meets all the points that we've identified in our scope of study. And then it's also revised if there's any need for revision. So we have the opportunity before we accept this full study to work with the applicant as the city to make sure that we are confident that all the elements of the scope have been met.
A representative of the developer discussed the plan and showed layouts and renderings of the project. Then public comments were invited. Attorney Clifford Davis represented residents of 10 Stewart Place, which is adjacent to the Good Counsel site.
My clients, 10 Stewart Place, are not opposed to the development of the site. However, we are opposed to this particular plan and this particular application for a zoning change. And this board has the legislative discretion to enact a zoning change. The issue is not what is good for the developer. The issue before this board in going through the scoping process is what is good for the city of White Plains and the surrounding community. At the end of the day, the issue is and must always remain what is good for White Plains.
Davis Avenue resident Robert Hawk.
The Chapel of the Divine Compassion. It wasn't clear to me that it's stated in the scoping document that there is a crypt in that building that contains, I believe, at least 40 deceased members of that order, including Mother Mary Veronica. I believe there's also the issue of the fact that the Sisters of the Divine Compassion have a lease for that property that is finite. And so I believe that the scoping should seek what the applicant's plan is, long-term plan for those individuals who are, or the remains of those individuals who are buried there.
Terrence DeRosa of North Broadway.
The proposed traffic study included a handful of intersections along North Broadway and Lake Street. Yet there's going to be building at South Broadway and Maple where the White Plains Pavilion is. There's building going on Bank Street. There's proposals for more residential units across North Broadway at the AT&T building on Hamilton. I don't understand why these projects haven't been taken into account in the traffic study. I also didn't see anything in the scoping about illumination and the lighting impact that this is going to have on the neighboring properties. As a resident whose windows overlook 50 North Broadway, am I going to need blackout curtains in order to sleep at night?